photography is not a real job. Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I have a very exciting topic and I'm not going to be doing it alone, as you can see. I'm in the city of Abuja and I have the famous. Hey, guys, are you ready for this? I'm sitting with Uncle K. I'm sitting with Khaleegraphy Studios, aka Uncle K. I'm just going to let him introduce himself. Okay, so take it over.
Thank you for having me. My name is Khalil. I'm the head creative at Khaleegraphy Studios. I don't like Uncle K because that's Uncle Kelechi Amadi.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm a portrait and wedding photographer, educator, YouTuber, Abuja. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you so much.
Thanks
Thank you. I'm super excited to be doing this. No, he's not the kid. He's one of my major motivators when shooting YouTube. You definitely have to check him out. He has a lot of YouTube videos, which will be very, very impactful to you. So we'll just take it right up. Today we're going to be speaking about photography is not a real job. Coming from photographers, we're speaking about how photography is not a real job. So just a quick intro. We've had a lot of scenarios, a lot of issues here and there. Okay, I don't think photography, just like how people will say, oh, accountant. They don't think a photographer is a real job person, right? You go to an event and people say, yeah, photographer. So is that all you do?
Is that all you do?
Is that the only thing you do? So today we're just going to be dissecting it just a little bit.
Let's go.
Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
So we're first of all going to be starting with the harsh truth about photography. For me, I think there is a very low barrier to entry in photography. And now this is because anybody can enter photography. Anybody with a phone, even with Nokia, anybody with a phone now identifies themselves as a photographer. And that is a major issue because it almost feels like nobody is learning anything. Even if once you take black and white picture, they've opened an Instagram page. I'm a photographer. Yes, you get. So the next thing is, that is what we are going to be doing and all. But okay, what do you think?
Yeah, barrier for entry indeed is low. You know, there is no school to attend. There's no certification to be attained. You know, all you need ideally is camera strap,
your neck.
and you're good to go. You know, so it's low. Maybe the only thing that determines how many people come in and out is finance. You know, can you afford to get a proper camera or the best phone that you can get? You know, basically, and access to clients. How soon can you get people to trust you?
Yes,
you know what I mean? But yeah, it's a thing. It's just the way it is now. Everybody, since mobile phones blew up, since smartphones blew up, everybody can just whip out their camera, take a picture. I mean, there are even international awards now for mobile photography and whatnot.
I didn't know that. Photography.
Trust me,
my God.
There are thousands of dollars to be won with pictures taken on your phone.
Wow.
Yeah, so... Yeah.
Okay, so speaking about finance, you mentioned something about finance, and if we know how expensive gears are, especially now coming into photography, what would you say about this, especially when we have people that we spend a lot of money buying these gears, but sometimes, especially when you're entering photography, the entry level, you've spent a lot of money, but the client is not equating, it's not balancing, it's not. So people now tell, okay, maybe this is not actually a job because I've spent this much. Why am I not getting this much?
Right. It's a process, right? Unfortunately, the typical 9 to 5, has structure in place. There's a blueprint, right? You go however many years of university, get a degree, apply, get a job. For decades, the position that you're about to enter, the salary, the remuneration, right, has been in place for, God knows how long. That is established. We don't have that with photography. So it feels like you are paid what you can bargain for.
So it's a market where everybody.
It's a market.
It's a bargaining.
Now market.
What you offer.
What you're able to argue for yourself, right? So the average client sees you as somebody that let me test. Let me just test, because again, there is no decade-long blueprint to follow.
But do you think we're going to actually have this blueprint soon?
That is why what we're doing here now is important. The Ijeoma is building a blueprint.
Okay.
With every video that we make, with every client that we're able to convince that this is what we're worth, right? And we have value, and you get them, you convert, they pay you. With every one of those situations that we come out triumphant, we're laying the blueprint for people to come, right? So yes, you might buy all the expensive gear, and the people might not be willing to pay at first, but it will be different 5 years from now, because we're making this video. It'll be different 10 years from now, because people coming into the industry will have something to look at. I mean, even these clients now, down the line, there's an acceptance now that EJ Works you must pay in millions, right? And they understand that it's an equal exchange of value. Oh, what I'm getting is actually worth what I'm being, So it's right now, especially if you are just coming in, you might find it difficult at first, but
you would figure it out. But in photography now, which a lot of entry photographers will say, do you think it's oversaturated? In terms of, because I'm thinking about it now, when I was in school, there were a lot of people that were in law. That law. I went to there were like 200 people. But at the end of the day, it's not everybody that became lawyers. We don't have that process as photographers. Everybody that enter in photography, they will say they are photographers, right? So how would you put like the oversaturation here, where there are a lot of photographers and there are maybe lesser clients that are willing to pay for it?
Okay, so I don't believe that the market is oversaturated. I don't. The reason why I don't is, how many photographers do we have in Nigeria? I don't think we're up to 1 million. I don't think so.
Not.
We're not even close.
We're not.
How many Nigerians are there? Estimate 200 million. Right? Of the 200 million, maybe a quarter of those people can afford a photo shoot.
Okay.
Right? So let's say 50 million people are willing to pay for a headshot, a birthday. No, of course, not all of them are high end, right? But they see value in it, they're willing to pay, right? So if let's say that we are 200,000 photographers, let's say, right? And there are 50 million people willing to. How many people can we really shoot? Right? How many people can we really shoot? The issue might be, especially for people in Lagos, the issue might be territory.
Okay.
Do you get what I mean?
You're dragging Lagos.
No, I'm not dragging Lagos people. I'm just stating as it is. The fortune that I have as an Abuja photographer is I can go to Kaduna, which is a 2.5 hour.
Nearby.
It's nearby. I can go to Mina, which is an hour and a half.
Okay.
I can go to Jos, it's 3 hours. I can go to Kano. By road is 4.5, something like that, hours, but I could fly. Do you get what I mean? I have access to the north, it feels like.
Okay.
Where it might not be the same in Lagos. Do you get what I mean? Lagos is just Lagos. So
it's just Lagos we have access
sometimes the fear of oversaturation is because we don't necessarily explore other markets. But if we stay in our comfort zone, we want everybody in our community to book us. Why are you looking somewhere else? Right? But it's a global village now. There's work everywhere. I mean, we're even doing photo shoots over the internet now.
Yes, actually.
Do you get what I mean? So I personally don't believe that the industry is oversaturated. There's still so much space.
The sky is big
Yeah,
enough.
it is.
The sky in Abuja, the sky in Abuja, the sky.
No, but if you
Lagos.
think about it as well, think about it this way. Not everybody that buys a camera and actually calls themselves a photographer is doing it because they really want to, because they love photography.
Okay.
For a lot of people, it's just a means to an end. Or right now I have free time. I'm not,
I just want to.
let me just get a camera. I see photographers are making some money. Let me stay busy.
Yeah.
Some people, it's busy. It's an avenue to make money while they're in school. Some people, it's before service. Some people, it's post-service. I don't have a job yet.
Yeah.
Can I just
do something?
As many as people get in, a lot of people get out.
Yeah. Actually.
Is why the used market is booming. There are always used cameras and lenses for because people are coming in.
People are going out. Who is staying? Who is staying?
Yeah.
So a lot of people would think that photography is not a job. Well, I've had my own share of experience. My father told me, "Oh, you want to do photography? Who does that? Like, why would you do that? You did not learn photography in school. Like, it's not a professional accountant or doctor or nurse or just something, right? So why would people think photography is not a job?" From my own aspect of my own mindset right now, I think there's a lot, especially in Nigeria, it has to do with a lot of cultural mindset. Right. Speaking from experience, once my parents saw that I was actually excelling in this particular field, they're like, okay, you can actually give it a shot, right? So we just need to maybe show people, because I know as photographers, there are a lot of photographers that are not, you know how you said going in, going out. There are a lot of photographers going out, right? So with the cultural mindset, we actually have to show that we are actually doing well in this particular field. And it might involve a lot of things, building studios, showing people that this is actually a sustainable business. This can actually be used to feed and grow your family. Because when I said photography, I kept on saying to myself, I don't want to marry a photographer because we'll get broke like this, something like that. So I think why people would always think that photography is not a role has to do a lot with cultural mindset, and how we can just help with that is, you know how people are always proud to be a lawyer. We can as well as do that. I'm a photographer. Talk about what you do. Talk about how you do it. Talk about the lives you are impacting, so that people don't just think that, oh, you're just making money or that. Just talk about the things. Talk about how you are building a legacy with your pictures. Talk about these things. People will now realize that, oh, you know what, this is actually a job. Right? What do you have to say about that?
I have a lot to say. And I want to watch my words so that I'm not dragging photographers.
Okay.
Because I agree with you about, the cultural mindset. But I also believe that we photographers are affected by this. Like, a lot of the industry offer them jobs, traditional jobs, they will drop their cameras. I genuinely believe that.
Wow.
So
they're not even helping.
So of course they're not helping. I mean, if you even think about our relationships within, within the community, if you want your photographer friend to do something for you, they're likely to want him to do it for free. If he doesn't show, if he says I'm busy, you're like, busy doing what?
Ew.
No, let's just be real. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So even ourselves, do we really view photography as a job, or is it a hobby that we enjoy? Is it a hobby that brings us popularity, that gives us a dopamine hit every now and again when we post and we get the flame emojis and do you get what I mean? Fire. Because when you talk about systems and structure and building, you find that photographers are not as interested as when you say color grade, edit, right? It is when we focus on systems and building
it.
That's what gives us longevity. That's what gives us a structure where we can hire people. Right? Where I am now a photographer who is also a boss. It's not a boss. No, are you paying salary? Do you get what I mean?
Drag them.
Are you paying salary? Like, do we ourselves see this thing as work. I'll always give credit to Bayo Omoboriowo because he was the first person that made me realize. He would always introduce himself as, "Hi, I'm Bayo, I am a photographer."
That's the mindset shift.
Yeah.
That's the only thing you introduce yourself as.
I'm a photographer.
Wow.
So I went to school for architecture. I was practicing architecture. And I'll tell people, I'm an architect. But
I do photography.
You know what I mean? Because architect is more, it just sounds better. Prestige architect, But then I had to tell myself, wait, you wake up as a photographer. You go to sleep as a photographer. You're thinking, what's the light like here? What can I shoot today? That's what most of my day is. So why don't I introduce myself as a photographer who can build your house? As opposed to the other way around, right? And the moment I made that shift, the world started to respond to me differently, right? I met this young guy. I was shooting a wedding. And you know how somebody is looking at you, then when you turn towards them, they look away. Like you just know that this person is
looking at you.
So he finally, maybe after like 2 hours or something, goes, "I'm sorry, I have something to say." I'm like, "Okay." In my mind, I'm like, since like just
say it.
So he told me how he had just finished service and he was looking for work. And if somebody had suggested he try out photography, he would have said, me, graduate, photographer, but the way I have seen you work,
portray,
the way I seen you carry yourself, I
different.
can hear the education when you speak. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So who am I? Who am I to look down on? If you can do it with such passion, So we have a lot of responsibility ourselves, right? To own this thing that we do, to treat it as work, and not just, an expensive hobby, so to speak, right? So I feel like I can go on forever about this.
Well, I think as I don't know, I'm in accounting, but let me use HR. I study HR.
Okay.
So, as a human resource manager, right? If I want to go to see the president, there's a way I'm going to look. There's a way I'm going to present myself. If I want to go to a company to speak, there's a way I'm going to look. But photographers, vibes on vibes. They would think that, I'm a creative, so I should dress this way. And then when people look at you that way, you have an issue with how people address you, right? So it has a lot to do with our mindset, how we're portraying ourselves to other people. Because to be honest, it's the way you portray yourself, people are going to reflect. They're going to reflect how you're reflecting yourself to you, right? I think another major thing people would think that photography is not a job, it has to do with the regulation.
Right.
And a lot, especially in Lagos. We've had conferences that photography needs to be regulated. Photography needs to be regulated. What are we doing about this? Do you think there is ever going to be some sort of regulation?
What do we mean when we say regulation? Do we mean like prices, for example? What do we mean by regulation?
So maybe some sort of community. So take for instance a community of lawyers. So some sort of community whereby we have a bit of understanding. To be honest, when photographers say regulation, they need everybody to be charging the same thing.
At the end of the day, that's what we're on about.
Everybody wants to charge. Everybody wants to request that we should not pass this benchmark. I don't think that's realistic.
I don't think it's realistic either, for lots of different reasons, right? Let's say years of experience, right? Somebody who has been shooting for 10 years, somebody else has been shooting for 20, somebody just started 2 years ago. You can't tell those people charge the same thing.
No, you can't.
Doesn't make sense, right? Somebody is using a Nikon Z9, a Sony A9, whatever, right? A Canon R5 II, and then somebody else is just starting out and they have a Rebel, maybe. Do you get what I mean? A T5i, right? You can't tell those two people to charge the same thing.
Yeah, you can.
Somebody has good people skills. The other person not so much. This person dresses a certain way. The other person not so much. This is a graduate. This isn't.
True.
We're all different people. We can't charge the same thing, right? Now, the reason why we want to regulate, again, pricing is still this idea of oversaturation. You will spoil the market. My own mindset is nobody can spoil my market.
True.
That's how
nobody
I see
can
it.
spoil our market.
Nobody. Like, charge what you charge. That's fine. There's a market for you.
Yeah.
And then there's a market
For you.
What I have to figure is, if you are willing to do a portrait session, let me not call it price, and somebody will go, yeah, that's what I charge. You know, if you're willing to do a portrait session for a low fee, that's fine. There is that market. But the people I photograph will hear your low fee and know that you are not there. Do you get what I mean? There are people that when your fee is low, they know that you are accessible to plenty people, and I'm looking for exclusivity, right? So you're not my guy. Those are the people I'm looking for. People that want to hear big money.
Yes.
Like, okay,
yes.
yeah, okay.
This is my
Yeah, sure. Right? So regulation, of course, it helps if we have associations, right? Where we could have maybe even means of identification. There are certain places that we should be able to have access to once we're wearing a certain ID card or whatever. True. There are open spaces like Millennium Park here in Abuja where they will tell you no professional cameras, you can only shoot with your phone. I should be able to go there with I don't know, Abuja
sort of,
professional photographer, something that gives you access. So if that's what we mean by regulation,
maybe
sure. But pricing, I disagree.
Okay.
Pricing, I disagree.
So let's just run back to the topic as we wrap up. So do you think photography is a real job? I asked you the question again.
Photography is not a real job. The reason I say photography is not a real job is the thing that society has determined as real job. Photography doesn't fit into it.
Okay.
So society calls a real job. You know, we've spoken about an accountant or an architect or a doctor, even a police officer. Because traditionally these are jobs that have been around for centuries, not just decades, right? And what those tend to come with is there's a certain security. There's salary. Yes. No matter what happens, end of month, a certain amount of money comes in. Some of them come with bonuses like health insurance, pension. Yeah. Do you get what I mean? Start of year allowances, seasonal, 13th month, you know, seasonal allowances, stuff like that. And there is structure in place. There's a hierarchy. This is, you know, manager and there's an assistant manager. Photography doesn't have that. So in that sense, photography is not a real job. Also, we as photographers, in my opinion, are the first generation of photographers who are making enough money that we can imagine buying a car from photography. We can imagine building a house from photography. We can go on holiday from photography. So we are the ones now that are changing the cultural mindset of what is a real job and what isn't. Right? Yeah. We're in the process. But we must first accept that we're not there yet.
Yes, true.
Because like I mentioned earlier, there are still lots of photographers that if you offer them a real job, they will run to it and leave their cameras. They won't think twice, you know? So in that sense, photography is not a real job. But it can be. Okay. Which is why everything you're doing, everything the industry is trying to do with all of our thought leaders, you know, with learning that this skill is great. Learn your skill, perfect your skill. Hone your skill. But be able to set up something that allows you to do this till, like a real job, 60. A lot of us are not thinking that far. This photography, let me get what I can now. Once I start to feel back pain small, I'm done with photography. We can put stuff in place that we can shoot till 70.
Actually, yes.
Right? Structures, systems, you know, teaching that not everybody has to shoot people. Not everybody has to be portraits and weddings, right? That there are so many more opportunities out there, right? That this is a proper business. This is something that we can feed ourselves, family.
Yeah.
Build. Why can't we build generational wealth via photography?
Yes. Yeah,
right?
I'm going to shout.
Yeah, so in one sense, it's not a real job, but it can be. We're in the process.
Yes.
We are building.
True.
When somebody tells me, is that a real job? I'm not angry at them anymore. I used to be. What do you mean? The hours I put in. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
I used to be mad at them, but now I feel like I understand where you're coming from because we all grew up understanding CBN job
is the real deal.
is the real deal.
Yeah.
That's what all of our parents went through. Yeah, photography is in that, but it can be.
Okay. I honestly did not see in this angle. I was going to argue that it's a real job, but I don't do anyhow for me. But yeah, I like how you came in through. It is now up to us as creatives, as photographers, as videographers, in as much as you are a fantastic editor, you're a fantastic shooter.
Right.
You have to think beyond yourself.
Right.
What can I put in place to ensure that this is a job?
Right.
Even personally, I'm thinking, for my team members, do we need to start doing HMO? Do we need to do pension?
Exactly.
Because these are the things that real jobs will actually offer.
Right.
Do you have a hierarchy? Do you have systems so that even if someone is leaving, someone is coming in and is just flowing into, right? Because these are the issues we have found in photography. Right. So this is photographers. Please put systems, put structures that would help you grow. Just so that when you're not there, me, I'm a woman, I always say it. When I have children or 2 children or something, I don't think I'll be shooting as much as I want to right now. But what are the systems and the structures I have put in place? So, on that note, we'll be wrapping up. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
The Khaleegraphy Studios. Do not forget to share. Do not forget to like. Do not forget to subscribe.
Subscribe.
Yes, thank you. I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.
Bye.